What's good? What's good? Welcome to another episode of Musically Zone Talks Boxing. This episode comes to you by way of HWX Handcrafted Candy. The motto is relax and enjoy. Also by the Block Fam, we started on Marlowe's Horn and we just keeping it going. That's what we do. And the music that you hear that flows from your speakers when we step in comes from the track title. So if you know somebody that's looking for some music, tell them get at us and we'll hook them up. If you like fantasy prediction boxing leagues, then you need to go on over to Camp Ross's Fantasy Prediction Boxing League and try out your luck. He got the longevity, so you ain't got to worry about joining and him going somewhere, because they ain't going nowhere. And bragging rights is something that you can have. But when you get a little cheddar, that's right, when you get a little paper to add into your pockets for first, second, and third, that's something you really feel good about. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my brother, Moody Traywell, Sports Camp. So they doing some trivia over there. He gives you some of the answers for some of the questions. But that last one, you better be on your beam, because he gonna test you. And he's not gonna give you the answer to that one. But when he opens up the doors to have his full trivia, they're going to test to see if you've been coming over there and getting your knowledge together. With that being said, kick back, relax, and we're going to have a hell of a night tonight. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have some fun. We also going to be talking about Errol Spence and Tim Zuta's getting ready to come up. We got to have a conversation about what's going on. Keyshawn Davis, and I understand Debo Dale's supposed to be locked up. Also got to figure out what's going on with Shakur Stevenson. I'm understanding that he had something to say about O'Shaquie Foster. I'll be back in a minute and we can get into those things.
melon, rosso, rose, red apple, bianco, pineapple, black cherry, ruby rose, grapefruit, moscato, dusty, tropical, mango, green apple, blackberry, orange fusion, lemon lime, French vanilla, red wine, black wine, pink wine, peach wine, blueberry, golden, honey peach, royal. I'm spoiled 'cause you're tasty, 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 tasty. Tasty, tasty. Oh. The candles are burning, the music is low. You're fine as wine and your body glows. You sway to the melody, your poetry in motion. I'm caught in a spell and you got the potion. And I pull you closer so I can embrace you. The smell of your clavicle makes me wanna taste you. You're my Stella Rosa. You're my Stella Rosa. You're my Stella Rosa. You're my Stella Rosa. Our bodies are touching. I put my hands on your waist. This passion is burning as I invade your space. You slow grind up on me while I'm tracing your spine. I'm caressing your curves, girl, and nasty thoughts on my mind. I'm kissing on your shoulders, removing your gown. You roll your neck like you're stretching as I begin to go down. You're my Stella Rosa. You're my Stella Rosa. You're my Stella Rosa. You're my Stella Rosa. Berry, melon, rosso, rose, red apple, bianco, pineapple, black cherry, ruby rose, grapefruit, moscato, dusty, tropical, green apple, blackberry. You taste it.
Y'all know how we do when we get around to cooking up in here. Just had to let you know. A lot of those tracks y'all hear, they be coming up off this little beautiful machine right here. This little MIDI that I like to use. Where do I start? First of all, we were late. We were late because I was working on a new way to try to stream. Try to get things cooking for you guys in a better situation where we can kind of act to I see your micro board. Got one of those for traveling beat man. That's right. Where the heck is my there they go. Let me go ahead. My brother, the Kane, is in the house. He know the struggles. He said he got one of those for so do you like it? Because I like it. I like using it. I like using it. It's real simple and easy to work with. One of those type of things. I sit down right in front of my desk, plug it up to the computer. It midis up smooth and easy. No lag, no holdback, nothing like that. So it is what it is. As I was saying, I was trying to get things set up where we can come on and enjoy everybody with the way we had the screens, the stream set up. But for some reason, there's a step that I'm missing, or there's something that's not connecting. So here we are again in the old way. But hopefully next week we'll have everything going. We are also working on being able to get you guys those musical videos where we go through, go back in the day and do some time travel, talk about old school groups. My apologies that Those that didn't get to catch the live did not get a chance to see the replay because YouTube put a lock on it. And when I say put a lock on it, they put a lock on it not just in the US or in certain cities or certain states. They went global on us. They locked us down globally. They was like, they ain't gonna hear this nowhere. But I believe that the mistake was made that I have to make sure that I let it be known that it's for learning purposes. I probably have to put it up that way and everything like that. But you can trust that the next time it comes down and goes down, we're gonna get it right. Because I felt like the first time out was like that was a sweet time. And hopefully we'll be able to make magic like that many times coming down the line. We'll just see how that goes. What's this I got here? To Zoom. If you okay, we probably go through. We'll get at a shot. We'll get at a shot next time going through the Zoom Discord and everything. But anyway, Errol Spence and Tim Zoo was getting ready to come up. I'm understanding that Devin Haney and Keyshawn Davis, they fight has been ordered to go to purse bid, so they may end up locking up. My boy Hyphy hit me up and told me about some stuff with Shakur Stevenson. So we looking to see how that's gonna play out. But other than that, I guess the only thing I can say is, as always, you know, I get a slow start because hell, that's just how we do it over here. Not on purpose. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sure everybody's doing some things. So I'm gonna give them a chance to come in and get to rolling. I think I'm gonna change this up a little bit. Y'all know I like to do the music, but I think what I think I'm gonna do is go to some stuff that y'all really haven't heard. Let me go ahead and put that in there. That y'all haven't heard yet. Let me see if I can pull it to the forefront. And okay, so I got some instrumentals that I'm gonna go ahead and just ice them on down. Can you feel what I'm saying, my brother? I'm not gonna get too jumped into the news too fast, like I said, because one, I want to make sure that people get to hear what I got to say about it. With the Errol Spence fight and Tim Zoo coming up, I also want to know how they feel about it. Try to get our picks in to see who we gonna be rolling with, who we gonna be riding with, and who I think this the Errol Spence Tim Zoo fight, man, it's kind of racking my brain because you know I like Errol, but it's so much that's going up against him. Him being gone for so long, it's a long road to climb. I also seen some stuff with Boo Boo Andre. You know, look like he's trying to make a return. We'll see how that go. Here we go. So, trying to get into the library real quick so we can get things going. Hit y'all with some different stuff. No, that's not it. Hit y'all with some different stuff. Just to let you know that we're keeping it fresh and hot up in here. Hot and funky. Hot and funky. There we go. So I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way to the top. Even though most people try to get to the top first, we pay our dues. Mentioning the paying dues, I'm going to go ahead and drop one called Paying Dues. Y'all let me know what you feel about it. And like I said, once we get our brothers and our sisters up in here, so we can go start having this conversation about these fights that are getting ready to take place. See how excited people are about Errol, the big fish, making a return. And from there, we're going to work. So this is called Pay Dues. Like the way that started already. be cooking over here, man. All you gotta do is holler at us. Y'all come on in, put your feet up, get your drinks, get your snack, get your smoke, whatever it is you do. I'll make y'all way on in. Y'all know how we do around here. Music, we don't talk about. You open the doors, then we get your feet kicked up, and then we start doing what we do. You heard? This little baby right here was one of the best suggestions I made because of this music. I used to just last couple of years is just by going through the computer, using the virtual keyboard and stuff like that. Here's the thing. But upgrade our game. And just so you all know, we do got a lot of music lined up that's going to start pouring out in the track by your home. So y'all be ready and prepare for that. You know what these things. Doing a lot of coffee, don't want that to be getting on. That was called Paid Dues. Gonna follow through with another one. Like I said, I'm just gonna enjoy the night, get it rolling. The Big Fish. I saw this poster. Got two sharks coming up on the side of him. Look like he's standing on a surfboard with a pedal in his hand. And I guess what I'm going to say is, to me, it's not the dopest picture that they could have done to represent him as the Big Fish. It's not the dopest picture, having looked like two great whites coming up on the side of him. I don't know how most other people feel about it, but for me, it's not the dopest picture. I did a short video a couple of days ago saying that, a lot of people felt like Errol was looking stiff. For me, I didn't see a big difference. I don't see a big difference in him hitting the pads with Ronnie Shields and him hitting the pads with Derrick James. Still the same one solid punch, 1, 2, I seen him mixing 1, 2, 3 in there, but it's pretty much at a certain pace, it wasn't no change ups or nothing like that, which is not, I'm not expecting him to get on there and do the Tank or do the Floyd Mayweather speed bad punching other pads or anything like that. I'm just saying there's so much that's lingering over this man's head right now that can play that's going to play factors. I'm not going to say they can play factors. I believe they're going to play factors when it comes to this fight. One of the reasons is him being out for as long as he has, ring rust, something that's going to be, people say there's no such thing as ring rust, but shit, if you ain't been active, how do you think you can just get back in there and start doing it? Like a baseball player, a slugger, he ain't been swinging at a minute. He off. He got to get that timing back right. Basketball player ain't been shooting a while. He got to get that touch back right. You know, same thing with a quarterback throwing to a receiver. There's certain things that you just got to get back. That's got to get back clicking for you to get back to the top of the game. Is that something that he even wants to get back at the top of the game? Not to mention the changeover from 158 to 160. That's going to make a difference too. It's going to make a difference to a lot of people. Is he going to campaign in 160? Or is he just using, hey, let's just go at 160 because I don't want to burn up too much energy trying to get down to 154? And finding out about the 160, just, you know, that actually just took place. It seemed like not even 4 weeks. You know, it happened pretty quick. So we have to see how that's going to go. Like I said, I got some tracks that I'm going to be rolling through and coming back in talking to you about what's going on. Y'all give me a hot second. Here we go. They lied to y'all if they told y'all it's gonna be heat coming up out of here. They lying to y'all if they telling y'all that we ain't hot. Now, if you really got skills, you can mess with this track. You can mess with any track. If you got skills, whether you're a singer, MC, you fit to do anything to get it licked. Is Errol Spence going to be able to go out there and handle his business against Tim Zoo? Will he be able to go out there and regain the magic, recapture people's hearts, get their aura back, get that confidence back? You know, this is one of those fights that you really don't know how you should look at it. I don't, anyway. For me, I don't know really how I want to look at it because there's so many unanswered questions in this fight. The man came out and gave people a glimpse of what was going on with him when he took the loss against Terrence Crawford, and people ate him up. So many people say he shouldn't have said anything. I, for one, was like, the man went away. He took that ass whooping. He didn't make any excuses. Even in the interview, really, he didn't make any excuses. People, the question was asked what was going on with him. He actually let it be known. It kind of, we kind of end up getting a split with fans because what he said, and then Derrick James ended up having a conversation, and that made fans get a split between them. Some people going Team Spence, some people going Team Coach Derrick James. But none of that matters right now because this man has traveled over to Australia. He in the down under right now with throw a shrimp on the barbie, kangaroo jack, all that stuff is going on. It's time for him to show and prove. Now, you can hear the confidence, or at least hear him speaking confidently. I went to another country and became a champion by beating Kell Brook. And now he's saying that he's going to show up in Tim Zoo's native land and do it again. Is that possible? Yes, it is possible. But I don't think Tim Zoo is just going to take that land down. Like I said, Tim Zoo has been the more busy of the two. I didn't realize my cover came down. Tim Zoo has been the more busier of the two. And that right there in itself is going to be a problem, I believe, for Errol Spence. As much as I like Errol, it's going to be real hard for me to say that Spence is going to win this fight. There's going to have to be a lot of things that go right for him. And only a few things can go wrong for him. One is timing. He's going to have to get that on point. Now, we've heard him say before fight Mikey Garcia, he really trained himself and things not trained himself, but certain things that he didn't have going into that fight, nutritionists and all that kind of stuff. Man, I'm going to just be real. I see choppy waters for Errol Spence in this fight. And if Tim Zoo can recapture any of the magic that he had going against Tony Harrison, that's going to be a hard fight, a very hard fight for Errol Spence to overcome. Especially because we don't know if he can pull the trigger. You got that question to be asked, that's going to need to be answered. Can he still pull the trigger? I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it because I haven't really been listening to a lot of people, but the fight that he had with Terrence Crawford, everything he was given was given back to him tenfold. Crawford showed no mercy. The referee had to come in and stop the fight because Errol was taking a beating. Will any of that whooping play a part in this fight coming up this weekend? Will the loss to Terrence Crawford take any part of Spence's mental this weekend coming up? Now, I'm not saying that I think the dude don't have heart or anything like that. I for one, hope and pray that he comes back and he has a great showing. But I got to be a realist and say, shoot, there's a lot of stop signs. It's a lot of stop signs. He's had a lot of, he's been hitting and speaking a lot about, this could be my last fight and this and that. How up can you be if you're talking about this could be your last fight? A lot of fans remember the big words and the dreams of becoming undisputed at another weight class and things of that nature. But if you're talking about this could be the last fight, how up for this fight are you? That's what I want. How up for this fight are you? Because Tim Zoo, in my opinion, Errol Spence, this is a name. This is a scalp to put on the wall. You know, there's a lot for him to look forward to. One, he fighting at home. The record of the Zoos at home, they're undefeated. You think he wants to go and give a chance to mess that up in their legacy? To be the first of the Zoos, Costa and his cousin and himself. You think he wants to be the first one to take a loss in Australia? I don't see that at all. Not to mention, you got a chance to beat Errol Spence. Yes, he has taken a loss before, but who did he lose to? Considerably the best fighter at the time on the planet in Terrence Bud Crawford. Seeing that he's retired now, you know, you have to say at the time. But that's who he lost to. Your question, you know, Tim's question is, can I repeat that magic that Terrence Crawford had against Errol Spence? Can I go out there and be the guy to give him his second loss? Because nobody else prior to Terrence Crawford was able to do that. And I think this is what Tim Tszyu is banking on. He's banking on the fact that Errol Spence has been gone for a while. Does that make him dangerous, or does that make him an easy target? I say, does it make it dangerous or an easy target? Because does it make him dangerous because, hey, he's 3 years removed from this accident. He's been removed from these eye surgeries. You would think anything that might have been ailing him in the past is all healed up. Could this 3 years actually been a fountain of youth? The rest needed from all the years of training and sparring and fighting, could this be that break that his body much needed, staying at 147 pounds a little longer than necessary? Or could the toll of the accident, the toll of all the battles, all the sparring, all the training, could the toll of these things have taken little pieces, little chunks, just nipping and chipping away? Could his reflex be a little slower? Some people could say yes, because he's been chilling for so long. Punch resistance, could that be worn down a little bit? It's a possibility. He'll be fighting at 160 pounds. Not 158, not 154. Remember, the last time we saw him have to make weight for a fight was at 147 pounds. Think about that. 3 years ago, he had to go through the ordeal of making 147 pounds. When Terrence Bud Crawford ended up fighting amnesia and he had to wait a little longer, I don't know if you guys remember, but he said, man, he wasted my time making 147. This ain't easy. This stuff ain't easy. So they let it be known then that he was working hard to make that 147 pounds. Now, some people will say, well, he don't have to work that hard to make 160. But, you know, 160 wasn't the goal weight. 158 was. 2 pound difference. We don't know what he was. I don't know what he was coming down from to get to 158. But whatever it was, whatever finish line or starting line that it was, whatever starting weight it was, I'm going to be real. He failed to make the weight at 158. Was it because it was too hard? His reasoning was, if we're going to fight at 158, we might as well fight at 160. He didn't say it was too hard to make 158. I'm just assuming, and I'm not going to assume that he couldn't make it. I'm just saying that's a possibility. That's a strong possibility at such a close time for the fight to show up that they end up changing it from 158 to 160. Now, yeah, Tim Tszyu agreed. But Tim Tszyu isn't the big factor here as far as Errol Spence. He's a major factor because he's the guy that he's fighting. He's the guy that's been in the ring more recently, most recently. Errol, like I said, hasn't been in there 3 years. And I haven't heard anybody, really questioning the fact, what's up with this 160 instead of 158? Even though they gave him a pass and didn't really complain about what's up with this 158 instead of 154. All I'm saying is this road to come back is going to be chocked with a lot of potholes. Even though it's Tim Tszyu, if Errol Spence comes out there in some kind of way miraculously just dominate, I would be totally surprised. Favorite fighter at 147 pounds, Errol Spence. I said it so many times. That's my favorite guy, 147. Terence Crawford was the next guy. But everywhere else, Terence Crawford was holding him down in his spots. Errol was the 147 guy. That was my guy. I don't know what guy is going to show up at 160 because I've never seen a guy at 154. The much anticipated rematch that everybody thought that was going to come back because, so many people were like, man, there's something wrong with Errol. So many people before the fight, you know what I'm saying? Because so many people just got on him because he came out and said what he said about being hurt, the ribs, the issues with Derrick James and all these things. So many people before that fight was saying, man, what's wrong with Errol Spence? Why he look high? They accused him of being high. All these type of things that they said. When he actually came out and said what was going on, the cortisone shot that Andre Ward said, yeah, you don't get no sleep when you take those. Errol didn't say it. Andre Ward went on and let us know that you don't get no sleep when you take those shots. A lot of things that people speculated on, the things they speculated probably were wrong, but you got the answers for what you were thinking in that interview. And now, coming back from 3 years, skipping over 154, not making 158, which was the agreed upon weight. They changed the agreement to 160. And now we have to see what kind of Errol Spence shows up. What kind of gas tank is this man going to have at 160 pounds? You know what I'm saying? For everybody who thinks they know about boxing, we've got a big gap. A big gap from 147 to 160. There's a lot of days in between there that we don't know what was going on. We don't know. First of all, we don't know how long it took for him to recover from the fight. I'm going to go ahead and say the messed up rib and everything from the fight with Crawford. So many people that always kept saying, well, he ain't the same because of the accident and this and that. All that took place. We do know that he took time away from the fight game. He enjoyed his family. His eyes are supposedly been open to a lot of things that he was doing wrong. Not living a Spartan life, drinking, just doing stuff that wasn't conducive to being a great boxer. Good boxer, yeah, he was still maintaining that. But if I have to say, he was right getting to the cusp of being like just great, already earned a household name thing, but he got derailed. He got derailed by Terence Crawford, the accident. And these are things that the masses said. Now, it's a fact that he got derailed against Terence Crawford. It's a fact that he had that car accident. It's a fact that he had the retinal tear. All these things are facts that now we have to sit back collectively those that are riding with him, and hope. You can't say with any certainty that this man is ready. You might want to say that this man is ready and he gonna go out there and handle Tim Zoo, and this gonna Errol Spence is back. Yeah, he back in name at the moment. He's back in name, and like I said, I hope so bad that he comes out and have a great showing. But right now, if the scales were like this, Tim is like this and Errol is right here. Until we actually get to see Errol go out there and put in some work. Like I said, we knew he had a high engine, a high motor at 147 pounds. We assumed that he would have a high motor at 154 pounds because we assumed that he wouldn't have to work as hard to lose weight, to make weight at 154. The snapshots and the reels that we needed to see of his transformation from 47 to 54, that doesn't exist. That doesn't exist at all. There's no fruits, no fruits from any trees that we can pick from to say this is the way he was coming along. We're about to see this man at 160 pounds. That's the weight that they're trying to make. I'm just going to spitball and say he might, since they're making 160 pounds, how much do you think he's going to rehydrate from 160 if he ends up rehydrating? Because he's, like I said, he's coming down from something that he failed to make 158. And I'm an Errol Spence fan, but I got to keep it real. They were set to fight at 158. He didn't make that. And Tim Zoo having enough confidence within himself, because this is what I'm seeing. He has enough confidence to say, you know what? Cool. Let's fight at 160 then. He granted that request. Now, some people might say, well, he don't have no choice. Earl the bigger name. Well, Errol might be the bigger name. But really, how much pull do you give Errol and his bigger name with 3 years out the game, and he's coming back, not one weight class, but 2 weight classes higher to continue his career after the most devastating loss that he took inside the ring? That's major. That is major. We can talk about Tim Zoo's losses. We can talk about his wins. But concentrating on Errol, the Truth, Spence Jr., Mr. Big Fish, Mr. Put him in the dirt. This is who we concentrating on, and hoping shows up and shows out. But to me, in my opinion, he's at a deficit. He's behind the 8 ball. His back is against the wall. Not to mention being cryptic, saying if this is my last fight. If this is my last fight, do you run to the betting to the bet makers with odds like that coming out of his mouth? If this is my last fight, how up do you think he is? I just have to throw that out there. How up is he if he's making it seem like this could be his last fight? And, I don't have any reason to doubt it, because I listened to the way he spoke about being away from the game. It wasn't like I don't remember him saying anything about having no major itch to hurry up and come back to the game. He was enjoying his life, his family, his children, going on vacations and things like that. Listening to him talk, I didn't hear him at some point going to reminiscing about an urgency to coming back to the game, of coming back to the fight. If one was to think of it and look at it, people would say, "Oh, you ain't gonna be no Hall of Famer, this and that." I don't see why not. At this time in the rate, certain people, the fight, the generations have changed. He should be able to get in there. Three belt holder, 147 pounds is where he mainly fought at. He started at 54 and went down, but 154 is where he reigned at. Beat every piece of competition that came up against him, except for Terence Crawford. Hell, people thought Mikey Garcia was going to beat the man. Till he went out there and put a jab on Mikey Garcia for the whole night, pretty much. Just outboxed him. But I can't overlook the fact that he's been gone for as long as he's been gone. He wasn't able to make the 158 pounds for whatever reason. His reasoning being, we might as well just fight at 160. What's the 2 pounds? If I can't make the 2 pounds, that's a lot. But now I'm looking, in my mind, I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to be weighing on when it's time to come into the ring on fight night. How much bigger than 160 will he be? Will he be gaining some strength, some extra thump in his punches? Because remember, we've heard so many people describe him as the type of fighter who accumulates punishment on you to break you down. Nobody has ever said that he hit with such ferocity that he got that one punch kind of power. No one has said that. They all said it was a build-up type of punching that broke you down. I'm sure he'll still attempt to be a body snatcher and work on the body like he used to do. And from what we remember, he was a pressure fighter. For as long as he had been fighting, he was a pressure fighter. I don't really see him coming in the ring changing that. So I see him being a come forward fighter. But he did mention if he has to go on the back foot, he'll be able to box. But we really, honestly, have not seen him have to really do that throughout his career. I think Kell Brooks, prior to Terence Crawford, Kell Brooks was giving him some business. I can't remember the African guy that stung him in that fight, but that's so far removed from anything that's getting ready to take place this weekend. It's to be thought about. It's to be thought about. I'm gonna get on it a little bit more, but with that, because I know people gonna want to, break down the things. Man, before I even go any further, Jamal Charlo, Big Charlo, I feel so bad for that man. All the training and getting ready for a fight and getting ready to try to come back and show the world that he still got it. He's still ready. He can still campaign. He can still fight. You know what I'm saying? All the problems that he said he had to overcome just for him to get ready to go make some money and have a good fight and be denied a visa to get into the country so he can do it, so he can put on a show for the world. But, that's how things work down. Give me a second. I'm going to go ahead and let y'all tune something. I'll be right back. I'm back. I don't want people to think that I'm trying to burn down the house around Errol Spence, because I'm not. You know, I'm just calling it like I see it, and how I'm seeing it is it's going to be a tough fight for him. I think Tim Zoo is going to be ready. I think Tim Zoo is motivated. I think Tim Zoo is looking at it. This is a big name to add to my resume. If I can get back past the big fish, if I can get past Errol Spence, I'm back in the game. I'm back making noise. Simple and plain. That's the way I see it. You know, if I'm wrong, somebody let me know. But right now, the deck is stacked against Errol Spence. And I remember at one point, I looked at Errol Spence some years back, and I was like, who's going to beat him? Who can beat him? You know, me and Big E would say, nobody beating this boy. But, you know, you end up finding out that fighters aren't being who they're supposed to be. They're not living the way they're supposed to be. They doing outside stuff that's not conducive to them being on top of their game. That's all. Now, it's been brought to my attention. I'm not for sure how serious this is, or if it was said, because I'm getting it secondhand. But it was brought to my attention that Shakur Stevenson says O'Shaquie Foster hasn't done enough. Now, y'all know I like the baby world beater. I really do. I also like O'Shaquie Foster. But to say that he hasn't done anything, go figure. Now, Shakur has praised him before. And I can't remember the exact words, but something about him, O'Shaquie, being the best kept secret in boxing or something like that. Something along those lines. That's high praise. Now, O'Shaquie Foster has, you know, he has a loss on his belt. One loss, I know for sure, is when he was cheated. Not just by my words, by a lot of people's words. He was out there whooping the man, and they just didn't give him the nod. But he's corrected that, and he's been on that motion of winning. And he doesn't seem like he's willing to shy away from any smoke. He seems like he's ready to challenge himself and take on challenges. And the confidence and the way he's speaking and how he's reacting, in my mind, there is no doubt that he really believes he can beat Shakur Stevenson. This man said he would meet Shakur at 140. Or they can meet at that 135, where Shakur said he's campaigning it, where he's a natural 135 pounder. I hate to have to put it like this, but when you listen to O'Shaquie say that, it's almost like he drew a line in the sand. And he telling Shakur, whatever side of the line you stand on, I'm ready. I'm ready. And this, I'm saying, if Shakur Stevenson has said something to the point of Shockey Foster hasn't done enough. He took care of Ray Ford. He's taking care of everybody in front of him. And right now, you know, with all the delegating and everything that's going on, the misfight with Devin Haney, the shenanigans going on for Keyshawn Davis. It's about time, you know, if you really look at it, the line is the competition is set up. It's ready. And right now, whatever fighter decides to say, you know what, I'm about to take on all oncomers, that's the one who's going to end up shining. And that's the one that people are going to be like, regardless of what's going on and who you like, that's going to be the one to start to shine. So y'all better start getting it together, man, with this, oh, he not doing enough, or he hasn't did this, or he easy work and all this kind of stuff. If there's easy work, like Floyd Mayweather, where the easy work at, you point at it, you point at it, you point at it, go get that easy work. Go get that easy money. Because that's what it is. Whatever price tag is put on it, go get it. But now you know, Shakur's is Zuffa for the time being. Shockey Foster, I don't know who Shockey Foster is with. I don't know if he's a PBC fighter or who he's with right off the top. But he strikes me as the type that'd be like, shoot, if it's an opening for him to go slide in there to make the fight happen, I think he'll do it. Now, we're talking about a guy that's representing H-Town. He's in H-Town. And he seems to be showing that he's willing to walk through the fire to get where he wants to be. And where he wants to be, it seems like, is considered as one of the best, if not the best fighter in the game. So if Shakur's saying he hasn't done enough, I can't understand that. There's no need to let that fight marinate thinking that you're going to add a whole bunch of more dollars on top of it, because the fight that makes sense that people are looking for, if you're going to make the fight, is against Devin Haney, which I've heard so many people say, and I'm not one of them, to say that they think Shakur is scared of Devin Haney. My brother Hyphy is on my back, on my neck. He's saying that he thinks Shakur is scared of Shockey Foster. And when you get put in a situation where you can't really defend your fighter, because when it comes down to fighting, they making a bunch of friends with everybody. Everybody wants to be kumbaya. Nobody wants to fight. Don't let me bring up Anthony Abdullah Mason into the situation, because that young man said he'll fight everybody. You know how they go around, they ask that soft question, who would be your friend, who would you fight, this and that and this and that. Would you fight Devin, Keyshawn, Shakur, Tank, something like that, where they say, who would be your friend, who would you fight? He said, I will fight every one of them. He named off all. He didn't say just give me anybody. He named their names. I'll fight Shakur Stevenson. I'll fight Keyshawn Davis. I'll fight those guys. Were the guys that getting all the respect and the nod, the head nods and everything like that, they not making their fights. And, you know, baby world beater, come on, man. You're going to have to step it up and represent for Newark, New Jersey. Because right now, people are starting to take steps back. And pretty soon, they was on you before with the De Los Santos fight. They're going to really be on you. They're going to really start getting on you, because I can hear it coming. They're going to start screaming. The duck word is they getting their throats and their lips set to start saying it if they're not saying it already. I don't see no reason that not to take the fight. But like I said, he has Zuffa now. We got to see what's going to be laid out in front of him in Zuffa and see how he does with that. O'Shaquie Foster, you know, he gonna just keep on doing what he's doing, and I guess, you know, fight what they put in front of you, beat that up, move on to the next one. That's all you can do. You know what I'm saying? When fights can't get made, which let me say they can't get made because they can. You know, other fighters has proven it already that fights can be made. Errol Spence and Crawford proved that fights can be made. Boots Ennis and Xander Zayas proved that fights can be made, even when everybody else is against it. If you put your foot down, because we've heard them so many times say, I'm the fighter. Y'all work for me. If I don't make no money, y'all don't get no money. And if you one of those money makers, you can put your foot down. So all this about this went wrong in negotiations, if that side went wrong, the fighters can make the fights. And it's getting to the point where I'm just sick and tired of hearing soft-ass excuses. Only people that I'm willing to hear an excuse from that's like, I'm not willing to fight this person if they got true blood brothers. Because y'all heard me say before, cousins, they could fight. Mom, we finna fight. I know that's your sister's son, but we finna make the family a lot of money. There you go. Brothers, brothers, I can understand not fighting. I can understand it. But cousins, they can go. And I'm only saying that to say this. If you ain't no relative for real and y'all just play cousins, y'all just play brothers, nobody trying to hear that, man. Go fight. For real. Go fight. People literally will pay you to fight your friend. Y'all think what? Y'all can't be friends no more after y'all fight? Y'all could be friends that made a lot of money. Doing what y'all supposedly love to do. That's all I'm saying. So, Hyphy, I heard you, and if that's what it is, yeah, I am kind of disappointed in that situation that the man not fighting. But, and I got to put this but in there because he was Zuffa now, so we got, you know, let's see what Zuffa lines him up with. Because he did say he was the name over there, Zuffa, and he, you know, they want the best fights. So let's see what they pull out. Let's see what they pull out, and let's see if he runs to it. Or if there's a lot of extra stuff going on. A lot of, you know, backdoor talking. And then I guess you can start screaming duck or whatever, scared or whatever. But let's see what Zuffa gives him and see if it satisfies people's hunger to see what he does. But let's go with something new. Everything that y'all gonna hear tonight, as far as these tracks go, is pretty much new. Y'all just gotta eat it up. Let me know what y'all think. Here we go. The big snowman is getting ready to come back. I already think he's gonna lose to Watts. At least I hope that will be the case. Y'all know I ain't no Tyson Fury fan at all. But they're gonna be fighting Friday, July 24th, along with Demetrius Andrade coming back after his loss against David Benavidez. He'll be returning to the ring at the middleweights. And Anthony Joshua is showing back up Saturday, July 25th. Hamza Shiraz. I like Hamza. But anyway, let's get to the next topic. The next topic is Devin Haney, Keyshawn Davis. I'm understanding that what I'm hearing is that they've been ordered to fight by one of the ruling bodies. The fight now is going away to purse bid. And we just waiting to find out what's going to happen. I'm hearing that the split's supposed to be 75-25, 75 to Devin, 25 to Keyshawn. I'm going to say this. With all the noise that's been talked about Devin and everything that Keyshawn has said and anybody else that has said, I don't think Devin is going to be a walk in the park for Keyshawn Davis. Let us not forget that at one point when Keyshawn had just became a pro, he was talking about how he had do this to Devin and do that to Devin and do this to Devin. You know, he would handle Devin. But we heard him in the interview with Andre Ward. We heard him in the interview say he was capping. He knew he wasn't ready for Devin. Now, you know, you can respect the man for saying, you know, I was just saying what I needed to say because that's what I was supposed to say. But at the same time, I don't want people to think, oh, Keyshawn going to go out here and handle Devin. Now, don't get me wrong. Y'all have never heard me talk bad about either one of them. I'm just giving what I think. Don't think that Keyshawn is going to go out there and run through Devin because he's been on a little tirade and been beating the people that he's been beating. Because for him to have been getting better, do y'all think Devin hasn't been getting better? And that's just going, you know, I'm just going to have to keep it real. You know, they moved, Devin moved up and he looked like he's feeling out. Looked like he's feeling out pretty well at the higher weight classes. Does he carry a little more thump? That's a possibility. Guess you would have to ask Brian Norman because Brian Norman is the first person we saw get knocked down by Devin after moving up in the higher weight classes. Does Devin have a nice IQ when it comes to boxing? I believe he does. Does he have a decent jab? I believe he does. I do also believe that he knows how to use that jab to his advantage. I can't remember who's the tallest between he and Keyshawn. They might be close to the same size. Devin might have him by a little bit. Not 100% sure. But what I am sure is of this. Out of all the things you might want to say about Devin Haney, you can't say that he hasn't been willing to fight folks. Now, yeah, you're going to say, oh, well, they didn't make this fight. And they didn't make that fight. We know the kind of game that Bill Haney runs. You know, he wants to make sure that he has Devin's name popping here, popping there, popping everywhere because all publicity is good publicity, in my opinion, when it comes to Bill Haney working for his son and speaking for his son and putting his son's name out there because he does a hell of a job of doing that. Devin, in my opinion, has been holding up his end of the bargain by winning his fights, save for the one hiccup against Ryan Garcia. And I agree with a lot of people. I think the Haneys were moving so fast on the train that they overlooked some things when it came to old Ryan Garcia. But I think now they have corrected those things, and now they're going to be making sure that even though they're going to still talk they talk and Bill going to still get out there and strut around like a barnyard pimp, he going to still make sure they're going to make sure now that they cross every T and dot every I. I don't think they're going to let themselves get so big-headed that they don't look at the full deal, that they don't look at the whole situation from top to bottom before they go ahead and put Devin out there and put him in some kind of danger of taking an unnecessary loss or unnecessary chances against a fighter that could not be on the up and up. But Keyshawn Davis, we know what he brings. We know he's brash. We know he's young. He's talking that talk, feeling good about himself. Well, I don't know how good he's feeling about himself for the simple reason, is there is something that's standing there. There's a fighter that's blocking his way that he's not going to get to fight unless they change their mind. Unless friends turn into foes in the like of he and Shakur Stevenson, Keyshawn Davis, it is, in my opinion, is going to be always a step behind. He's going to always be a step behind. So, with that being said, can he beat Devin Haney? Sure he could. Will he beat Devin Haney? That's a whole nother question. Not really sure. Not really sure. You're going to have to go out there and play chess with Devin. Now, people will say he hits a lot harder than Devin and all of this and all of that. But we all know Devin ain't no punk. We know Devin is going to fight. We know that. We watched him get up time and time again against Ryan Garcia. Now, do you believe Keyshawn hits harder than Ryan Garcia? Is Keyshawn as fast as Ryan Garcia? All those are, I don't know, questions. Will the way Keyshawn fights, will that affect Devin? You don't know. With Devin growing a little bit, being able to fight at a more comfortable weight, not having to drain himself down the way he was doing in the lower weight classes, it's a whole different dance. It's a whole different dance. And if I'm remembering correctly, I think, isn't Devin at 147 now? 140 is already out the door. Keyshawn is moving up. They both should be comfortable at the weight class, I would think. But we're going to have to see what kind of work Keyshawn brings to Devin. And he's going to have to bring some continuous work to Devin. Going to have to keep Devin from being able to get on his bike if he needs to and use the ring. Keyshawn going to have to be able to cut that ring off if Devin decides to use it that way. But what if Devin surprises people and steps to Keyshawn a little bit? What if the extra size that he's gaining come into effect? Does Devin have a longer reach? These are things that I need to check. These are things that I'm sure that you all know, but these are things that will come into play. Who has the reach? Who has the better boxing IQ? All that stuff. We know Devin has heart. So it's not like Keyshawn can go in there and just snatch it. Well, he can. That's a possibility, but I don't see that. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening at all. I see a chess match. I see a chess match, just like I see what two fighters. Like I said, if we were to see Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney fight, I believe that would be a chess match. I believe that would, and in certain ways, I believe it's going to be a chess match for Keyshawn and Devin Haney. Unless Keyshawn throw caution to the wind and be like, Devin don't have nothing to keep me off of him, which I think people are making a mistake, a grave mistake, saying that you can't, in my opinion, say, oh, Devin ain't got nothing to hold him off of him, because you looking at what he was doing at 135 pounds. He's another one that didn't give you a lot to work with at 140. But the difference is he was still active, unlike Errol Spence, who moved from 147 to 158, skipped 158 and went to 160 because we couldn't make 158. I just want you guys to keep that in memory. But when it comes to Devin Haney, who seems young, growing, the dude looks stout. Honestly, I was seeing him hitting the bag, and it looked like he's gonna be a problem. But Keyshawn looks like a problem as well. Just who's gonna be the problem solver? Who's gonna be able to go in the ring and impose their will? Is Devin going to, will he be setting up traps for Keyshawn? Because Keyshawn, at the moment, Keyshawn seems like, well, I'll knock Devin out. You know, and lately, getting a lot of fighters is claiming they had knocked somebody out. The only one that I can honestly say did it with slight issue, and that's Boots. He been going out there, you know, and getting them up out of there. Keyshawn, I'm gonna just say he gonna have to show and prove. Gonna have to go out there and make it happen. He's gonna have to go out there and make it happen. That being said, I'm gonna go turn to the musical part of the show. Keep the tracks banging through. Well, I try to get my understanding on OBS. Who else? Josh Kelly is gonna be fighting. You got Errol Spence, Stephen Fulton against Liam Wilson. Man, only person. Oh, here's a fight. Edward Bellinger and Stephen Butler. Edward Bellinger is like, if I'm tripping, he's like main event, co-main event. But I did notice something about him when they had their press conference. He seemed to me to be, and this could just be me, he seemed to have been whooped into a little humbleness. And I'm not saying this to take a jab at him or anything like that, because sometimes when you end up humbling yourself, it could be because you have learned a valuable lesson. He's not doing a lot of rah-rah and stuff like he was doing against Hamza Shiraz. He seemed to be a little more reserved. He seemed to kind of choose what he's going to say and things like that at the press conference that I saw him have. And I say respect to him for it. Hope he's tightened up in the training camps to right the ship and get back to his winning ways. Because somebody asked him about the belts and chasing legacy and everything. And I believe back in the day, he would have went on and dismissed the guy that's in front of him and started talking about chasing belts and legacy and all that. But this time, he made it a point to say, I'm not overlooking what's in front of me, who's in front of me. I got to get past what's in front of me before I can be talking about chasing belts and stuff. I just didn't see the same brash, bold talking, puffing out of the chest Edward Bellinger. I saw a more reserved kind of guy, a guy that talked with a little more reservation about himself. Somebody who was just more reserved. I don't want to say a lot to make it seem like he just turned soft and weak. I don't believe he's soft and weak. I just believe he learned that, you know, sometimes you don't need to bust open your mouth and get to saying a whole bunch of stuff that don't make sense. Let your fist truly do the talking. Don't get out there and embarrass yourself or say things to try to get up under somebody's skin and end up turning something that could have been and I'm going to say could be an easy fight, could have been an easy fight, could have been a win possibly. All that stuff you can say, but you can go out there and dig into somebody the wrong way and give them that little bit of fire that they need to just get over the hump to beat you. So Edward Belonga, I'm gonna say with him, I feel like he's toned down a little bit. Then you got Richard Hitchison, who was up there, because that's who it was. Richard Hitchison was sitting on side of him, and he was like, I wanted my brother to be the main event, but they called me and told me I was gonna be the main event. But you're gonna be up there, you're gonna be doing your thing, make it happen. Richard Hitchison is talking like, he gonna do his thing, so let him put it out there. Otto Wilder is fighting, but it is a long list of names. Keyshawn Davis, and I guess I want to throw this out there. Is Paramount Plus? Is that who Dana White name? Is that who Zuffa fights up under? Is that who that is? Oh, my brother, my favorite of all time. My brother from another mother and father, who I love so much. Ernest Davis, a.k.a. Maestro, a.k.a. Texas Timbo, a.k.a. Manny Draperlin, has slid into the building. Say, what's up, bro? Salute, family. What's going on, bro? I'm just in here chilling. Talking about the fights that's coming up and playing some music and just doing it like I do it tonight. I didn't get to open up the new streaming service that I want to open up and use, but hopefully next week when it comes around, I'll be able to get that pulled up and master class it and be able to go ahead and get it rolling. What was the next thing? Okay, that's where we're going. So my next track coming up, because I told y'all I was going to be cooking y'all, hitting y'all boom, 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 boom like that tonight. So with that one being said, because we're doing it over here in the Track Titans, I'm telling y'all, EL, Big E, Obese, everybody is getting together. We done tested a new spot to drop the songs. It seems that this spot is going to work for us. So be prepared. When I say be prepared, and I ain't talking about Lion King, be prepared. Even though that's a jamming ass little tune. Bro, stop. Looking like Snoop for real, huh? For real? For real, bro? Come on now. Let me go ahead and hit y'all with a little something. Like I said, be prepared. Because the Track Titans are getting ready to hit y'all with a lot of music that you will be able to go by, make it your own, show us some love, and go get these songs. With that being said, check this out. Oh, I did that one. Check this out. My bad, my bad. I came back a little late. Shoot. Whew. Had to run and do something real quick. I spoke on the fights that I wanted to speak on. I want to turn. What am I doing? I want to turn the situation to this open conversation about Northern Wales. I did a video on it, and some people was giving me some feedback. Some of the feedback that I got was not disturbing for the case, but disturbing for the way people think. Now, there's a lot of stuff that's being said about this Northern Wales situation, and this is how I look at it. This is how I feel about it. I feel terrible that the young man is gone, and we all know the situation of what's being said. You know, people are saying, "Oh, he wasn't left by himself on the island," and let's go ahead and be real. So much stuff is not being said. So many questions are not being answered. Or should I say, are not being asked. First of all, they're supposed to be waiting on these autopsies, the independent autopsy, opposed to the one that would have been done that was done by the Mississippi authorities. People are saying, "Oh, y'all trying to make it race because you asked Ben Crump to come and he only gets behind those type things." Well, this is how I look at it. For calling Ben Crump, that means you're bringing a lot of more eyes to it. You're bringing some national attention to it. Because if you think about it, you haven't really been seeing it strongly on the news. Not like you would see, not like you would think you would see with other cases. Here's a young man that supposedly went to this island with a group of friends. And when you see the pictures of all the boats and all the people there, and I hear people saying, "Oh, well, they were drinking." And he could have drowned. They keep pushing this he drowned narrative because they found him in the water and this and that. We don't know if his lungs were filled with water. We don't know what kind of situation it is. They say they found the body, but nobody's speaking on the condition of the body, which I can I can go with that. I can feel that. But what I'm saying is the mother that's the judge, stepmother of one of the boys, came out and made a statement, and the statements that they made didn't match. You know what I'm saying? They spoke about this girl that he's supposed to went and met with. Has anybody heard from this young lady? Like Nancy Grace say, or Macy Grace, or whatever her name is, she made a great point when she said, have anybody heard from this girl? Does she even exist? The young men say that their boat was sinking. They had to hurry up and go back home and this and that. You listen to the call that they made, the emergency call about the boat supposedly sinking. And one of the things that stuck out to me strongly about that was that the operator said, "Is anybody hurt? And is everybody on the boat?" And the answer was yes. Everybody's back on the boat. Nobody's hurt. Which tells me, you're about to leave, whatever, however you're leaving. From what they saying, Nolan was okay. I don't know. They say they left him with a girl. I don't know where the report came from that said that the girl said he was going back with his friends. They doing all this jumping back and forth, but those are two different statements, two different scenarios. That how do you just come up and say, "Oh, there was no foul play"? And God knows, I'm looking for just the answers, the true answers. And if there was no foul play, then it shouldn't be a problem with people coming out and seeing what was going on. With all the people that's going out, the only people that seem to say, well, last time we talked to him was this, and he was going back with a girl. So all the boats that was going back to land, nobody has said, oh, we spoke to Nolan, we saw Nolan, anything like that. Nobody has said that. If he wasn't riding back with the people he was riding back with, and he was supposed to be riding back with somebody else, who is the somebody else? That's what's making the problem with this case, is that the only people that are talking are the people that he actually first left with, and they're not talking. His mom made a big point about how she had been tracing the phone and all this Snapchat stuff was gone, which I agree with the people that have said so far. You don't know too many teenagers in 19, 18, that's still a teenager getting ready to go to college. Most mothers and fathers still consider that a child. He didn't document anything from that day. No picture. Y'all got pictures together of y'all sitting on the boat holding drinks. I don't know what kind of drinks they were, but they were holding stuff and all hugged up and everything, some big smiles and everything like that. But when his phone shows up, there's nothing from that day. And she made a mention about it wasn't even 24 hours. So they should have been able to see something. Y'all ended up taking his phone back. And from what I understand, when it was questioned about the phone, somebody kind of lied. Oh, we don't have the phone. And somebody else said, oh, the phone is on such and so, on a VCR or a desk or a TV or something, where they end up going to get the phone. Why would you lie and say you don't have the phone? Did you feel like y'all forgot it on the boat? Because the phone didn't walk in from the boat to your house where they were able to ping it and come to it and get it. When you called the mom, when you called this man's family and said that he didn't come back, why y'all didn't give up the phone without them having to come look for it? If information was erased from the phone, who erased it? All these questions are questions that I think should be asked. But they're trying to, in my opinion, muddy the waters. So when information starts coming out, it's going to be an outcry. One way or the other. You might as well prepare yourself. If they say that nothing went wrong and nothing happened, and everything that we know so far factually is just all coincidental, there's going to be an outcry. If somebody is charged and have to go to trial, there's going to be an outcry. Now, I once again say, because people say, oh, they only call Ben Crump and Al Sharpton to make it racial. I understand Al Sharpton offered $50,000 if somebody has information that leads to an arrest and a conviction. Then I hear that Tyler Perry reached out and said he'll match that, which makes it $100,000. The only part of that I would say that I would have done different, I would have offered the money. I say offering the money is good. But saying for conviction, people are going to run with that and make a narrative with it saying, oh, they're offering the money because they want them to say that they know somebody did something. But if you know the truth, tell the truth. And now they're putting a price tag on the truth. Think somebody gonna take that price tag of $100,000? $100,000 is a nice amount of little money. Just for you to say, hey, this is what I saw. Hopefully this could help. But for everybody, nobody, this is supposed to be somebody, this group of guys, this group's friend. This is supposed to be, if they want us to believe, want me to believe that this was a tight-knit community, football players, they all got along. There was never no issue. Nolan went to this island plenty of times with these group of friends and nothing ever happened. I've seen a lot of friends do a lot of stuff together plenty of times and nothing ever happened till that one time when the wheels fall off. They're showing a video of somebody arguing about give me my phone. You got one person saying that was him and it wasn't Nolan. You got other people saying that it was Nolan. All these conflicting stories. But my biggest story is nobody, after those young men said, oh, we didn't see him no more after this, nobody else saw Nolan. Nobody. Now, supposedly a certain kind of pump to keep the boat buoyancy right, keeping the water from just bogging down the boat, that wasn't working. That's why they had to get the boat towed back to shore, back to the mainland. But it's been disputed that the time that they said that they were leaving and the time they saw there's gaps. I'm going to just go ahead and be real, like my mama used to tell me. When you tell a lie, you have to tell another one. Now, let's think about what you got to lie about. Say you telling a lie in something like a case where somebody ends up dead. And you tell a story and then a question comes up. Now you have to tell a story because what's up, Hyphy? What's going on? Now you got to tell a story about what happened, and then a certain thing comes up. So now you add something to that story. Now your story didn't change. All I'm saying is if there's been some lies, and it seemed like there's a lot of lying going on surrounding this Nolan Wales situation, that hopefully the grand jury does what they need to do and say what they need to say to get investigations to really happen. And let's not pretend like we don't know that this is Mississippi and all kind of stuff has happened in Mississippi. People want to say it's not racist, but let's just not pretend that race does not play an issue in situations like this. Let's just not pretend that. You lying to yourself, you lying to me, and you lying to your children if you try to sit there and say race doesn't play a part in the things that's going on. If there was an argument about it because people say, oh, well, they didn't take their phones off the boat because they was in the water. Somebody literally told me that, they gave me a lot of different scenarios. Said my heart goes out to those that cared about him. Very unfortunate tragedy. This is true. But somebody told me, which I understand this, drowning around a lot of people. That's loud. Music playing. A lot of splashing going on. Yeah, you could drown in a situation like that. You can drown right there 2-3 feet away from somebody. They not know it. But here's the thing. I heard one of the people say, the riptide there in that area is like a wash machine. So we expected the body to show up somewhere around there. Well, people were saying, they said that the body showed up a couple of days after 4th of July showed up on the 6th. Washed up perfectly in the spot where they said it should have washed up in. My thing is, if this current is doing the way you guys said it did, I would kind of figure, and I'm not an expert, I'm just saying, I would kind of figure if this current is working like that, you really think it took 2 days to spit this body out of the water? You think it would took 2 days to spit this body up? One of the experts did that rescuers or whoever said they claimed that they saw the body, they said that the body wasn't bloated like you would think from being in the water for a super long time. And I'm just guessing, but I'm going off of things that from times before, people drowning, and you hearing the story about how the body was bloated, and this was just hours after the drowning. Now I understand some sea creatures could have been at the body and stuff like that. That's why they didn't give us a view of the body, and I'm glad they holding that back. But it's just a lot of stuff that people are saying. It's just not making sense to me. Now I know somebody will probably come and say, well, he could have been in that water for a long time. The current could have pushed him out further out, and then brought him back in. That's a possibility too. That's a possibility too. That water is big and it's hard to see. I've been out there not in that water, but I've been out in large bodies of water. We've been in the ocean, and they're not lying when they say that, you see the waves out there and you see the white caps. You see waves rolling in the ocean the same way they would roll up on the beach. You see that happening out there on the big water. All I'm saying is, please, man, y'all just do it right. How many families got to go through the same nonsensical stuff with losing ones that they care about, and the people that's supposed to love them too, that surround them, the so-called friends and everything? None of them. Have you seen any of them come out and say, man, I'm hurt that this man is gone. My friend is dead and I'm saddened about it. Nothing. Dead silence. Now, people made statements, they all cut off their social media. I can kind of see why. Don't want to hear a whole bunch of people going at you, accusing you, saying you killed this guy and all this. I can see them doing that. But I can also see somebody stepping forward. If I didn't kill you, and I didn't have anything to do with you dying, I'm going to come out and let the world know, look, I am devastated by what's happened to my friend. I'm not going to leave it to the world to just think and come up with scenarios and run scenarios and come up with stuff to say about me without me coming out and saying, look, I didn't have anything to do with it. My friend ended up going to do this. The last time I saw him, yada, yada. They said, oh, last time we saw him was this. When the world found out he was dead, I didn't hear nobody. I haven't heard not one person that's supposedly been on this trip with him out of the group of the people that we seen in the picture say anything like condolences to this young man. I even heard in the news, I think it was Roland Martin. I think what was said was none of those guys even showed up to put this man to rest with the rest of the people that, this is your friend. This is the guy that y'all claim y'all love, y'all respected, that he carried a spot in your heart. Y'all didn't even show up to tell him goodbye. Nothing. Now I can see if this had been some few years back, it would have been so whitewashed so quick. what was said would have been it. And honestly, in my opinion, the sheriff tried to pull it. How do you instantly say, yeah, we found him, we don't believe there was no foul play, and that's it? Without getting the autopsy back, you had already made this statement. You've already made the statement there was no foul play before the autopsy before it was made aware to everybody, to anyone. I appreciate Colin Kaepernick for what he's done for the family. I appreciate being Crump and Al Sharpton for what they're doing, because without those big names ending up being a part of it, they would have been quietly swept away. But situations like this need big names like that in order to bring lights and eyes to it. So for the people saying only got Ben Crumps because so they could make it racial, they only got, Al Sharpton so they could make it racial. If that is what it took to make a bunch of more eyes look at it, to make people say, hey, we can't just sweep it under the rug. We gotta look into it. We gotta look at it. I hope the pressure stays on them to look hard and deep into it. And if it was an accident, we can accept that. We can accept an accident. But when the stories are conflicting, it makes it hard to accept that it was an accident. Like I said, y'all blame this man supposedly staying on the island to meet a girl. And I was like, so y'all just left this dude. Everybody left. Everybody. And I understand there was no bathrooms there. There was no way to clean yourself. All the stuff that you would say on a big ass island that has no amenities on it. It's just a spot that people show up at, drink, have fun, go screw in the sand or whatever. When it was all over, everybody left. Group of friends that was his friends, they left. Prior, in my opinion, if they left when they said they did, that mean there were other boats that were still there. Y'all didn't tell nobody else, hey, be on the lookout for Nolan, make sure he gets back. Nobody. Rod X is in the building. What's going on? If you're getting here at this time, I've been through a lot of the boxing talk. I just happen to be going over the Nolan Wales situation and how it's kind of affecting me, because people just don't seem to give a damn. And now that people are starting to speak on it and big names are starting to come involved into it, now the first thing people want to say, oh, you're trying to make it racial. And when I say people, I'm going to go ahead and be honest. The only people that I've heard say that you're trying to make it racial are Caucasian people. Not that this is a sad situation. Not that let the investigations take place so we can find out what happened. They're just quick. Oh, y'all brought Al Sharpton. You want to be racial. Ben Crump don't do nothing but racial things. He don't take cases unless it can be racially motivated. I can't think of the name of the black cop that's always siding with, dare I say, white supremacists, but he's always quick to go against the people that look just like him. And he makes up all these scenarios and he says all these things. And I saw him talking to a lady in one of the interviews, and he told he was one of the first people that said, yeah, Ben Crump don't show up unless it's a civil case, that's for white folks. And this lady shut him down, and she was like, well, that's not true, because Ben Crump helped my family when my black person got killed. And he had the nerve to say, was it black people involved? And she was like, yeah, it was a black person that killed my person. This was a black lady he was talking to. So for you to make that statement that Ben Crump only shows up to make it a racial situation, then how was he there for us? And he says, well, that's only one time. Well, that's only one time that you didn't even know about. So how many other times has he shown up to help situations where it was just all black? Every case don't get modified and put into the atmosphere like that. But this one has, because, like I said, the stories that started falling out so rapidly, they were conflicting from the start. I still haven't seen the young lady that he supposedly was so smitten with that he had to stay so he can talk to her. But some kind of way the story gets bounced back that she said, oh no, he went back with his friends and I went home with my people. And I'm saying it like that because for me, I haven't seen her say that. So it's all hearsay to me. Man, we got to do better. We got to do better. And when I say we, talking to my people, at one point we got to come together and stay strong. And regardless of what they say, how they do, or how they act, keep pushing forward, keep pushing through it. And not in the point where we got to keep losing people, but damn, don't let them just feed you anything. Once again, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this strongly. This happened in Mississippi. What is Mississippi's history? It's not a possibility that a lie hasn't been told to us. And what's being said right now is just, we should take that to the bank and cash it in, because we know there's been lies. Hell, my mind goes back to Emmett Till and the story that was made that got him killed. And what happened? When a lady was in her ripe old age, she comes out and says that she lied. All the people that heard the story about that man and what he did to her, how he ended up dying, should let you know about the racism that supposedly is gone. Just the way people are reacting to the situation lets you know that they don't give a damn. A lot of these people that claim that, oh, we believe in justice and everything like that, they the ones that saying, y'all trying to make it racist. Y'all trying to make it racial. No, we just want to know the truth. And if the truth is that somebody done something to him, we would like to see justice. And if the truth is that some kind of unfortunate way, an accident happened that took this young man away from the world, present it to the world. But right now, his family is going through hell because they don't know what happened to him. All they know is they buried him. Whatever memories that might have been on his phone, they didn't get to see him. They didn't get to see if he was happy and enjoying himself in the last parts of his life. They have a video of some arguing going on and people saying that's him. And then you got other people saying that's not him. You got one of the young men saying, no, that was me. Or another friend that was supposed to be, that was another friend that was acting crazy. They were trying to get him off the island. Get that. He was acting crazy and they was trying to get him back to the mainland. Let that story be told. Y'all feel me? He was acting a fool, so they say, but they was trying to get him off the island. Now, some people say they was trying to get him off their boat, but he didn't get left, and he was being irate and belligerent. Nobody has said anything negative that Nolan was doing, except that he supposedly was smitten by some girl that he wanted to go, oh, I just got to go talk to her. And you guys just go ahead. Leave to take my phone with you. You know, I'll get it. This is the way it's being painted. When I think about the things that happen right now today, I think about my kids. They all grown, but I still think they my babies. And I think about one of them being in a situation like that. I don't think I could recover. For the parents to have to go through things like that and have to recover, man, I salute you with everything in me. Because I couldn't imagine losing my loved one, and then the explanations that are being given to me are like a regular conversation of passing, talking about a cup of coffee and a cigarette. They're talking about a pair of shoes that you just throw it away. Because in my opinion, right now, that's the way Nolan is being treated. With the information and stuff that people have said and how they left him. Because regardless of what anybody says, they try to say, oh, well, they didn't leave him by himself. Well, how did he end up dead by us? And nobody was there. And it took the Cajun rescue people, I can't even think of their name, and all these people searching and waiting and looking and searching. But the concentrated spot where they search is where the body showed up. And it came to my attention, they like, it's dangerous right there. You know, they pushing this out. The rip currents are it's like a wash machine. We call it they gave it some kind of name, but they're making it like you go swimming right here. It's just dangerous. Y'all ain't put up no signs. No signs to say, beware. Swimming right here, beware the currents. Because everywhere that I've ever gone when it comes to bodies of water that a lot of people go to, in certain areas, there are signs that tell you there is a freaking current out there in this area. Be careful. So this person that was talking about, oh, I don't think we can put up signs. What? Man, I'm just at the point right now, you know, so much stuff is going on. I'm just sick of it. I'm just sick of it. And with that, I'm out.